Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into the intense class divides and the absolutely electric romantic tension of a massively popular Nollywood drama. Seriously, we're talking about a story that is a masterclass in contrasts. We've got extreme wealth clashing with grinding poverty, rigid corporate expectations versus raw, authentic connection, and this fierce, ongoing battle between getting society's approval and just following true love. We're going to break down this whole complex web of relationships and the explosive dramatic climax that literally had viewers glued to their screens. We'll pinpoint the exact moments that define these characters and look at the insurmountable pressures they face from the totally different worlds they live in. But listen, to really get why the stakes are so incredibly high here, we need to drop right into the emotional boiling point of the story. Listen to this line. Imagine it being screamed in a moment of just pure, unfiltered heartbreak and jealousy. After all my dedication to you, you still choose a dirty village girl over me? I mean, wow. Think about dedicating 7 years of your life, both professional and personal, to someone, only to have to stand there and watch them fall for a complete stranger from a totally different world. It's raw, it's painful, and it completely shatters the carefully curated corporate life our characters have built. But okay, to truly grasp the weight of this massive confrontation, we actually have to zoom out and see where this whole thing started. So let's jump right into Section 1, Two Very Different Worlds. Okay, so picture the contrast here. On one side, you've got Chidera Okafor. He's the hyper-wealthy managing director of the Peace Development Group over in the city of Enugu. His everyday reality is expensive suits, high-stakes investor meetings, these massive family mansions, and just relentless pressure from his board of directors. And, oh yeah, his family too. Then, on the complete flip side, you have Amarachi. Her reality? Totally different. She lives a very humble, grounded life in the rural village of Umuagu. She survives by selling fruits and vegetables by the side of the road. But here's the thing, she's actually a former nursing student. Her education was tragically cut short when her father passed away 2 years ago, leaving her family drowning in debt. So the divide between these two, it's not just about money. It is this massive gulf in expectations, responsibilities, and just straight-up daily survival. Which brings us to Section 2, an unlikely village romance. You know how every great drama has that one inciting incident that forces two totally opposite worlds to crash into each other? Well, here, it's a rural road project. Chidera decides he needs to personally inspect it because of some community disagreements, and let me tell you, things do not go according to his perfectly manicured corporate schedule. It is honestly one of the most brilliant, funny, meet-cute setups in modern drama. You have this highly polished, wealthy director stepping out of his luxury SUV in a rural village, only to immediately end up in a physical fight with a stubborn goat. And the best part? He loses. The goat completely wrecks his ultra-expensive shoes in the mud. Enter Amarachi. She's standing right there, entirely unfazed by his wealth or his status, and she just calmly cleans his ruined shoe. And then, she charges him for it. Because, as she reminds him, she cleans shoes for a living. It's just such a wonderfully unorthodox, humbling moment. And Amarachi's perspective here perfectly hits the nail on the head as to why Chidera is so instantly drawn to her. As she bluntly puts it, she didn't know he was some billionaire named Okafor. She just knew he was the annoying guy who literally couldn't defeat a goat. Think about Chidera's world for a second. Everyone around him wants a piece of him. They see his bank account, his company, and his family name way before they ever see him as an actual human being. But Amarachi? She challenges him, she argues with him, and she just treats him like a regular person. For a guy who is practically suffocating under the weight of his own empire, she offers him the one thing his money absolutely cannot buy: genuine peace and authenticity.
Now, moving into Section 3, Vanessa's 7-year secret. Of course, every action has a reaction, right? So let's meet the opposing forces in our story. Just imagine the sheer gut-wrenching pain of watching the man you've loved for 7 whole years suddenly fall for a stranger. This is Vanessa Eze. She is Chidera's gorgeous, highly educated, and incredibly competent colleague. They've been side by side at work for 7 years, and she fits flawlessly into his high society world. but she has been harboring the secret, unrequited love for him the entire time. The tension really ignites when she secretly follows him to the village and watches him through her car windshield. She sees Chidera laughing with Amarachi in this relaxed, carefree way that Vanessa literally hasn't seen in years. And you can just feel the realization hit her like a ton of bricks. All that hidden jealousy starts bubbling up into defensive action, because in her mind, her rightful place is being stolen by someone who hasn't put in the years of loyalty that she has.
But Vanessa is definitely not the only roadblock. Enter Chidera's deeply intimidating, calculating mother, Mrs. Okafor. She is immediately suspicious of this village girl suddenly appearing in her son's life. And she doesn't hold back. She coldly warns Amarachi about the harsh realities of their world, delivering this absolute gut punch of a line. Never make yourself small because another person's house is big. Now that is a statement loaded with pure intimidation. She is drawing a massive, unmistakable line in the sand between their grand mansion and Amarachi's little roadside stall. It's a calculated psychological test, challenging Amarachi's right to even exist in the same space as her son. This perfectly sets up Section 4, Surviving High Society Dinner.
So Mrs. Okafor decides to essentially drag the village girl right into the lion's den. She invites Amarachi to a grand dinner at the mansion, and the pressures stacked against this couple are just suffocating. Amarachi is so far out of her element here. She's sitting there facing Mrs. Okafor's harsh judgment and these deeply invasive probing questions about why she dropped out of school. She's sitting across from Vanessa, whose simmering jealousy is practically radiating off her. The massive wealth gap is just glaringly obvious to everyone in the room. But guys, this is where Amarachi's fierce pride really shines through. When Chidera tries to be the knight in shining armor by publicly offering to pay for her nursing school, Amarachi actually turns him down. She refuses. Why? Because she knows full well that everyone at that table already assumes she's just a gold digger. She absolutely refuses to be his charity case or some sort of rescue project. She is fiercely protecting her own dignity.
But you didn't think Mrs. Okafor and Vanessa were just going to let it go, did you? No way. They cross a massive boundary here. Convinced that Amarachi doesn't belong, Vanessa actually uses corporate resources to launch a secret background investigation into Amarachi's private life. And what do they dig up? They find out about her late father's severe financial debts, and that Amarachi briefly had to work as a cleaner at a clinic just to survive. Now, to Mrs. Okafor, this is exactly the ammunition she was looking for. It's proof that Amarachi is just too far beneath their class. But to Amarachi, this secret investigation is just a devastating, heartbreaking violation of her privacy. Let's look at the fallout in Section 5, Corporate Leaks and Broken Hearts. So, what happens when the corporate world finds out about all this? Well, these private secrets are about to blow up into a massive public corporate scandal. The suspense here is off the charts. Someone deliberately leaks photographs of Chidera and Amarachi hanging out in the village straight to the press. And the media, they run wild with it. The sensational headline reads, "Village Girl Catches Billionaire." And look, this isn't just harmless office gossip. It sparks legitimate investor panic. Board members start freaking out, questioning if Chidera's private life is inappropriately influencing company decisions or community funding. Suddenly, this budding romance is viewed as a literal financial liability to the Peace Development Group. The fallout is immediate. And honestly, it's tragic. Amarachi makes the agonizing decision to just walk away. She realizes that by stepping into his world, she was made to feel deeply ashamed of the exact things she had to do just to survive. I mean, before she met him, she was just Amarachi, right? Now she's been reduced to a trashy tabloid headline. So to protect her own peace of mind and honestly to save Chidera's reputation from taking any more hits, she breaks up with him. She walks away believing that love, as beautiful as it is, just isn't enough to bridge the massive gap between their two worlds. But Chidera, he is absolutely not having it. He refuses to accept the breakup, and it leads to one of the most powerful emotional moments in this entire explainer. He fiercely validates everything she's been through. He looks her right in the eye, strips away all that toxic corporate snobbery, and tells her, working as a cleaner isn't shameful. Selling fruit isn't shameful. Your father's debt isn't your shame. Don't let anybody make you carry embarrassment that doesn't belong to you. It is such a breathtaking rejection of his own world's elitism. It proves that his love for her isn't superficial. It's rooted in a profound respect for her character and her resilience. Which leaves us with some pretty huge lingering questions, because the situation is far from resolved. Chidera is now on a mission to expose whoever inside his company tried to frame him with those photo leaks. Was it a heartbroken, spiteful Vanessa? Or is there someone else pulling the strings in the shadows? On top of that, Amarachi receives an unexpected offer that could finally get her back into nursing school. But taking it might mean leaving her village and Chidera behind for good.
So, will she choose the true love that fought so hard to defend her dignity? Or will she prioritize the nursing dream she sacrificed so much for? It is a brilliant cliffhanger that really makes you wonder, what would you do if you were in her shoes? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, everyone. Until next time, keep analyzing and keep learning.